Wealth is not earned by accident. It is summoned, and the summoning begins in silence, inside your own mind. Look around you. Every tower that pierces the skyline, every empire that stretches across continents, every fortune that has altered the course of history before it was built in steel, before it was written in contracts, before it was exchanged in gold, first existed as a single thought in someone's imagination. Carnegie imagined, Edison imagined, Ford imagined. Walt Disney stood on a swamp in Florida and imagined a kingdom where families would come to dream. They did not see things as they were, they saw them as they could be, and then, with relentless discipline, they bent reality until it yielded to their vision. This is the secret law of wealth that few dare to use. The law that says your outer world can be no greater than the inner image you hold of yourself. Most people live small, not because life denies them greatness, but because they deny it to themselves. They rise in the morning already defeated, haunted by doubts inherited from a world that tells them what is practical and realistic. They surrender to mediocrity, thinking that playing safe is wisdom. But safety is the slowest form of suicide. The truth, raw, unpolished, unavoidable, is this: your wealth, your success, your destiny, it will never exceed the size of your mind. So I ask you, what image of yourself have you been carrying? If you believe you are average, then average you shall remain. If you believe you were born for more, then more will come searching for you. The law does not bend to luck or circumstance. It bends only to belief. Belief is not some idle whisper of maybe or someday. Belief is conviction. It is seeing the invisible so vividly that the world has no choice but to bow. Lincoln believed in a nation united when division tore the country apart. Edison believed in a world illuminated when darkness was the default. They were ridiculed, mocked, dismissed as fools. But history does not remember the mockers. It remembers the men and women who believed so strongly that reality cracked open to their vision. And so it begins here, your mindset, the soil in which every seed of wealth must be planted. If your mind is poisoned with doubt, resentment, envy, and fear, you cannot attract abundance. You will repel it. Like a magnet turned backwards, you will push opportunity away. But if your mind is soaked with gratitude, clarity, ambition, and hunger, wealth will find its way to you as surely as rivers find the sea. There is no escaping this truth. You become what you dwell upon. Think poverty, and poverty multiplies. Think fortune, and fortune begins its march toward you. The world is not biased toward the rich or the poor. It is biased toward the bold, toward those who dare to command it with vision. So ask yourself, what do you dwell on when you wake? Do you scroll through endless distractions, feeding your mind with noise? Or do you rise with intention, feeding it with vision? Because here is the law. The morning commands the day, and the day commands the destiny. The moment you wake, you are either programming your mind for mastery, or you are surrendering it to chaos. Imagine a man who rises in the dark before the world stirs. His first act is not to check what others are doing, but to command his own mind. He visualizes the life he has chosen, not the one handed to him. He writes, he affirms, he plans, not for entertainment, but as a general prepares for battle. While others stumble into the day reactive and confused, he moves with clarity because his mind is already set on victory. That man, even with modest beginnings, will carve a fortune. Because wealth is not created in the marketplace, it is created in the mind and then delivered to the marketplace through disciplined action. Clarity is the foundation. Without it, energy is wasted. Look at most people. They are exhausted not because they do too much, but because they live without direction. A ship without a compass will wander endlessly, even if its sails are strong. But a person with clarity, one vision, one obsession, one burning desire, becomes unstoppable. Andrew Carnegie had no confusion. He would build steel empires. Henry Ford had no confusion. He would build cars for the common man. They did not dabble in 10,000 directions. They harnessed their entire being toward a single mountain. And this is why so few achieve fortune, because so few dare to define it clearly. Most people whisper, "I want to be rich," yet they cannot tell you what rich looks like, feels like, or demands of them. They confuse desire with fantasy, but wealth does not answer to fantasies. Wealth answers only to vision sharpened into certainty. So define it now. What does wealth mean to you? Not to your neighbor, not to the crowd, not to the media, but to you. Is it freedom of time? Is it the power to serve and give? Is it the ability to build, to create, to expand? Unless you can define it, you cannot hold it. The man who says, "I want wealth," but does not define it, is like a traveler asking for a destination but refusing to name a city. The train will never arrive. This is the beginning of the secret law. First belief, then clarity, then vision. But let me warn you, vision without discipline is delusion. The world is filled with dreamers who never wake up. They imagine palaces but live in excuses. They speak of greatness but act with laziness. They wait for the perfect time, forgetting that the perfect time does not exist. History rewards not the dreamers, but the disciplined. Edison tested 10,000 times before light came to his bulb. 10,000 failures would have silenced the ordinary man, but not him, because discipline is the bridge between vision and reality. And this is where the law sharpens. If you want wealth, you must train yourself as if you were an athlete of the mind. Discipline is not punishment, it is freedom. It is the chains that keep you tied not to mediocrity, but to mastery. Do not mistake freedom for doing what you want when you want. That is chaos. True freedom is commanding yourself to do what must be done when it must be done, even if you despise it. The wealthy are not always the most talented, but they are almost always the most disciplined. So rise early, plan clearly, act daily, repeat relentlessly. For wealth is not found in occasional bursts of inspiration. It is built brick by brick, in days that look ordinary but compound into the extraordinary. Discipline without action is wasted potential, and action without persistence is nothing but noise. The secret law of wealth demands movement, not tomorrow, not next week, but today. Too many people are scholars of success, yet paupers in action. They devour books, they watch speeches, they nod their heads in agreement, and then they do nothing. Their shelves are full, but their lives are empty. Understand this. Knowledge is not power. Applied knowledge is power. The world does not pay you for what you know. It pays you for what you do with what you know. Ford did not become a titan of industry because he studied automobiles. He became one because he built them. Edison did not imagine a light bulb and then go to sleep. He acted, tested, failed, acted again until failure bent into triumph. The law is merciless on this point. The universe rewards execution. Dreams without action rot into regret. So the question is not, what do you know? But what are you willing to do consistently without applause, without recognition, without immediate reward? Because the truth is brutal. Most people quit long before the finish line. They mistake the temporary silence of results as proof that their work does not matter. But wealth and success operate on a delay. The seed planted today does not sprout tomorrow. It must be watered, protected, and nurtured. Action plus patience equals fortune. And this is where gratitude enters, not as a soft sentiment, but as a weapon. Gratitude is not just saying thank you. Gratitude is the discipline of finding fuel in the smallest victories, of seeing abundance even while building it. The man who curses the soil will never harvest. The man who blesses the soil will endure the labor until the crop arrives. When you rise in the morning, if you begin by counting what you lack, you will starve your ambition. But if you begin by counting what you already have, the strength in your body, the opportunity of another day, the chance to act again, then your mind is charged, not drained. Gratitude turns obstacles into training, delays into preparation, setbacks into setups. Lincoln buried children, lost elections, battled depression, yet he remained grateful for the chance to serve, to endure, to continue. Gratitude kept him moving when others would have collapsed under despair. And it is gratitude that makes resilience possible. Because let me be clear, the path to wealth is not smooth. It is jagged, punishing, filled with betrayals, failures, humiliations, and nights when you will question your very worth. Many start the journey, few finish it. But resilience, unyielding, stubborn, iron-willed resilience, is the trait that decides who crosses the finish line. Resilience is not pretending you are never wounded. It is bleeding, crying, falling, and still crawling forward. It is refusing to let temporary defeat become permanent surrender. Edison faced 10,000 failures. Carnegie rose from poverty and ridicule. Disney went bankrupt before he built an empire of imagination. Each of them was told they were fools. Each of them faced rejection after rejection. Yet each of them persisted, not because it was easy, not because it was certain, but because they refused to betray their vision. And here is the irony. The very obstacles that break most people become the fuel that forges the great. Without the 10,000 failures, Edison's light would not have burned so bright. Without bankruptcy, Disney's dream would not have become a kingdom. The law of wealth uses adversity as a test. It asks, do you really want this? It asks, are you willing to pay the price in sweat, in ridicule, in loneliness, in failure again and again until victory bends to your persistence? Most people answer no. They bow their heads, surrender their dreams, and retreat into excuses. They call it fate. They call it bad luck. They say, it wasn't meant to be. But the resilient do not say this. They say, if it is to be, it is up to me. They look at failure not as a wall, but as a teacher. They do not ask, why me? They ask, what lesson is hidden here? What strength is being carved into me by this trial? The wealthy do not escape pain. They master it. And resilience alone is not enough. You must be adaptable. The law of wealth punishes the rigid. The world is in constant motion. Industries rise and collapse. Technologies advance. Markets shift. Old empires crumble while new ones emerge. Those who cling to yesterday's methods are buried with yesterday's fortunes. But those who adapt, who learn, who remain flexible while holding fast to their vision, these are the ones who thrive. Ford did not just build one model forever. He innovated, improved, evolved. Edison did not stop at the phonograph. He moved to light, to motion pictures, to countless inventions. Adaptability is not abandoning your vision. It is adjusting your methods while keeping your purpose intact. It is water finding a way around stone. It is the oak bending in the storm but never breaking at the root. Ask yourself, are you flexible enough to pivot when the world changes? Or are you so rigid that when life shifts, you shatter? Resilience keeps you moving through adversity. Adaptability ensures that movement remains aligned with opportunity. Together, they make you unstoppable. And this brings us to the most crucial element, the relentless hunger for learning. The poor stop learning the moment they leave school. The wealthy never stop. They devour knowledge not for entertainment, but for transformation. They learn from books, from mentors, from failures, from every conversation, every experience. Lincoln, with less than a year of formal education, taught himself by firelight, devouring borrowed books until his mind could outshine any scholar. Carnegie surrounded himself with advisors smarter than he was. Ford admitted he was not the most educated, but he was the most teachable, willing to learn from anyone who could improve his craft. The arrogant remain broke because they think they know enough. The humble grow wealthy because they know they never know enough. So ask yourself, are you a student of life or merely a spectator? Do you read to be entertained or to be transformed? Do you listen to defend your pride or to expand your mind? The law of wealth does not reward the stagnant. It rewards the expanding, and so the journey sharpens. Discipline, action, gratitude, resilience, adaptability, and learning, each one tied to the next, like links in a chain. Break one, and the chain weakens. Strengthen all, and the chain pulls you toward destiny. But there is more, because wealth is not just about you. Wealth at its highest level becomes about purpose. Purpose is the fire that makes all discipline, action, resilience, and learning sustainable. Without purpose, even the strongest willpower will eventually collapse. Look at the world's giants, those whose names echo across centuries. What do they share? It was not just intelligence, not just resources. It was purpose so strong that it outlived them. Lincoln's purpose was not politics, it was unity. His body broke. His spirit wavered, but his purpose carried him through wars and grief to etch freedom into the marrow of a nation. Edison's purpose was not money, it was illumination. He wanted the darkness itself to retreat when humanity desired light. Disney's purpose was not amusement, it was imagination. He wanted to prove that dreams could be carved into castles, that wonder could be engineered. Each of them was driven by something beyond themselves. And here lies another secret of wealth that few dare to use. If your vision ends with you, it will die with you. But if your vision extends beyond you, if it serves, if it contributes, if it breathes life into others, then wealth will chase you, for the universe itself bends to those who expand life, not just their own pockets. Most people want wealth to escape life. The wealthy seek wealth to engage with life more fully. Most want riches so they can finally stop. The greats seek riches so they can finally build. So I ask you, why do you want success? Why do you want wealth? Is it only for comfort, or is it for contribution? Because comfort will never carry you through pain, but contribution will. When your purpose is small, your resilience will be small. But when your purpose is vast, no storm can break you. And yet purpose without self-mastery is dangerous. For how many people begin with noble visions but collapse into corruption? How many leaders start with ambition but are swallowed by ego? Self-mastery is the highest discipline, the ability to govern yourself when no one is watching. It is conquering the small daily impulses that sabotage the greater destiny. The man who cannot govern his appetite cannot govern an empire. The woman who cannot master her emotions cannot master her fortune. Napoleon Hill once wrote, "If you do not conquer self, you will be conquered by self." This is the battle most will never fight, because it is easier to chase external enemies than to confront the enemy within. But wealth, true wealth, begins with this war. Self-mastery demands you silence the voice that says, "Not today." It demands you push forward when the body aches, when the mind resists, when every part of you begs for the comfort of mediocrity. Think of athletes at the highest level. They train not when it feels good, but precisely when it feels unbearable. They endure drills until their muscles scream because they understand. The body is a servant, not a master. The moment you obey its weakness, you surrender your throne. And so it is with wealth. You must master your mind as ruthlessly as a warrior sharpens his blade. You must cut away laziness, fear, procrastination, excuses, until nothing remains but focused, disciplined power. This is the real secret law. Wealth is not something you chase. It is something you attract by the person you become. You do not beg for success. You build yourself into the kind of person success cannot ignore. You do not plead for wealth. You sculpt your habits, your mind, your discipline until wealth has no choice but to gravitate to you. Average people ask, "How can I get more?" Masters ask, "How can I become more?" And when you become more, everything changes. Doors that were locked begin to open. People who once doubted you begin to respect you. Opportunities that seemed invisible suddenly appear. It is not magic, it is alignment. The farmer does not cry at barren soil. He tills it, waters it, tends it until the harvest comes. So too with life. You do not beg for abundance, you prepare for it. And when the preparation is deep enough, abundance arrives as if on command. But let me speak with absolute clarity. This path will demand sacrifice. You cannot hold mediocrity in one hand and greatness in the other. You cannot cling to comfort and expect destiny to greet you. To step into fortune, you must step out of the average life. You must leave behind habits that waste time, relationships that drain energy, environments that poison belief. You cannot fly if you are chained. Carnegie did not build steel empires by indulging in comfort. He gave his youth to labor, his mind to study, his ambition to unrelenting focus. Ford did not create affordable cars by following the crowd. He sacrificed popularity for persistence. Edison did not light the world by resting when the world mocked him. He sacrificed comfort for experimentation. What are you willing to sacrifice? Because the law of wealth is not free. It demands a price. It demands you choose between the temporary pleasure of now and the permanent reward of later. And yet, the sacrifice is not loss. The sacrifice is exchange. You give up mediocrity, you receive greatness. You surrender excuses, you inherit freedom. You let go of fear, you take hold of fortune. This is why so few dare to use this law, because they fear the price. They cling to comfort, unaware that the comfort itself is the costliest prison. But those who dare, those who burn their bridges, who commit fully, who master themselves and align their purpose, these are the few who rise from average to fortune. And the truth is this: fortune itself is never the final reward. The final reward is transformation, the becoming, the metamorphosis of a timid, doubting, ordinary soul into a disciplined, resilient, purposeful, unstoppable force. That is the wealth few dare to use, the wealth of becoming someone who cannot be denied. So I ask you now, are you willing to pay the price? Are you willing to wake while others sleep, to plan while others drift, to act while others hesitate? Are you willing to believe when no one else does, to sacrifice when no one else will, to persist when no one else can? Because if you are, then fortune itself will bend to your will. The day you decide is the day your life changes. Not tomorrow, not next year, not someday. The law of wealth does not answer to hesitation. It answers only to decision. You must decide that you are done with the small life, done with excuses, done with waiting for permission, done with shrinking to fit into the expectations of the mediocre. History remembers those who decided. Carnegie decided he would rise from the mills to command steel. Ford decided he would put the world on wheels. Lincoln decided that slavery would end even if it tore his body apart. Edison decided he would not die until light was brought to every home. And you, what will you decide? You must decide to think differently, decide to believe differently, decide to act differently, because until you decide, the law cannot move for you. This is the moment where the crowd separates from the chosen. The crowd waits for inspiration, the chosen act. The crowd needs certainty, the chosen build it. The crowd hopes for opportunity, the chosen create it. Understand this truth: you are not a victim of your circumstances. You are the architect of them. You are not trapped by the chains of the past. You are freed by the vision of the future. You are not limited by what is around you. You are limited only by what is within you. Every morning is a blank page. Every action is a brush stroke. Every choice is a hammer shaping destiny. But most people hand that hammer to others. They let fear shape them. They let doubt sculpt them. They let society mold them into replicas of mediocrity. Not you, not anymore. You will hold that hammer yourself. You will shape your life with intention, with clarity, with fire. You will rise each morning not as a spectator, but as a creator. Not as a beggar, but as a builder. Not as a prisoner, but as a conqueror. This is the law. Wealth begins inside. Wealth is first mental, then physical. First invisible, then undeniable. First belief, then reality. And if you are bold enough to command your thoughts, disciplined enough to align your actions, resilient enough to persist through storms, adaptable enough to evolve with change, grateful enough to fuel your spirit, and purposeful enough to serve beyond yourself, then nothing, no man, no failure, no force can stop you. You will attract success as surely as the sun rises. You will summon fortune as surely as rivers run to the sea. You will live not by chance, but by law, the secret law of wealth that few dare to use. So hear me now, with the full weight of truth. You were not born to be average. You were not born to merely survive. You were born to build, to conquer, to expand, to create. You were born to rise. Do not betray yourself with small thinking. Do not waste your days chasing distractions. Do not hand your destiny to the opinions of others. Rise early, believe boldly, act relentlessly, Give thanks fiercely, adapt wisely, endure endlessly, learn constantly, serve greatly. Do this, and fortune itself will kneel. The world does not need another timid dreamer. The world needs a relentless builder. The world does not need another whisper of potential. The world needs a roar of conviction. Let that roar be yours, because the truth is this: the law is not hidden. It has been here all along. The law whispers in every sunrise, in every invention, in every story of triumph. The law has no favorites. It waits for the one bold enough to claim it. Few dare. Will you? Make the decision now, not tomorrow, not later, now. Hold the vision, live with discipline, act with purpose, persist with resilience, expand with gratitude, grow with learning, serve with fire, and watch as the universe itself bends to your will. This is the secret law of wealth. This is the law that has built empires. This is the law that will transform your life, if you dare to use it. So step forward. The world is waiting. Your fortune is waiting. Your destiny is waiting. Decide, believe, act, become, and when you do, there will be no power on earth that can stop you.